Yes. Yeah, good evening, all. So, myself, I'm Vijay. Like, I hold 20 plus years of experience in training different technologies. So, before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Fine.
It's
Yes.
audible.
Fine. Thank you. So, as part of today's demo, right? Data engineer? Why data engineer? So, previously, we got, if you go back like 10 to 15 years back, we got ETL developer. Now, why data engineer and why data engineer is in demand today? Role of a data engineer, difference between a data engineer, a data scientist, and a data analyst. And the Azure data engineering products or services. What are the different data engineer? Azure data engineer. I'm talking of Azure data engineer products or services used for different purpose. And what is the current job market of Azure data engineer? So currently, yes, as compared, so that too, I'm discussing about this Azure data engineer with respect to cloud based. Yes. First, as compared with on-premises, cloud premises, right? What is the advantage we see of cloud over this on-premises? Cloud generally it is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. See, if I see the advantages of on-premises, means on-premises is meaning to maintain all the things. You need to physically maintain all the things, right? Okay, for example, on-premises, you need to set up your own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, installation of database server, designing database objects. And again, to maintain all this, that we require separate teams are required. What are that? Like hardware team is required for setting up the hardware systems, an operating system team for installing the operating system, networking team, and security team for security, and database administrators. Such we require separate teams like the hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, and database administrators. Here everything in the cloud, but here if we talk about the cloud, everything in the cloud premises. We no need to maintain all this. We no need to maintain any infrastructure, no need to maintain any licenses. Here everything in the cloud environment. Here everything is in the cloud. Okay. Data engineers, if we talk about this data engineers, with the help of all these cloud services, they work on the data, make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. So generally data engineer is responsible, he's going to prepare the data, means he's going to pull the data from different sources, from different like databases, NoSQL databases, and is cleansing the data, filtering the data, and transforming the data, and processing the data. Data engineer responsible for preparing data, cleansing or filtering data, transforming data, and processing data. Okay, if you see the difference between the data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Yes. Data scientist strategizes for the future, recommendations for the future, means he's going to analyze the data and identify the patterns and recommendations for the future, mainly data scientist. Data scientist performs like data analysis, data predictions, data classification, data clustering, data recommendation. for performing data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, data clustering recommendations. On the other side, data analyst summarizes the past, summarizes the data of the past. Is going to analyze the data, summarizes the data of the past, and for visualizing the data, So data engineering involves data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. It does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. Observe this, more than 80% of data analysis work, more than 80% of data analysis work is done by data engineers. Done by data engineers. Data engineering involves, right? What are the sources of data? What are the sources of data and what is the format of the data? How to transform or process the data and what is the destination of the data? This involves that. Sources of the data, from where you need to pull the data from, in what format the data has to be, how to transform or process the data, and what is the destination of the data. That is nothing but the target. And if we talk why Azure data engineer? Why Azure data engineer? And that too, why Azure data engineer is in demand today? Why Azure data engineer is in demand today? For example, an organization, an organization, it wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data in its website. So the organization, right, is using Azure for its operations. So it is going to hire two people. So it is going to hire two people. One is Azure data engineer. So going to have Azure data engineer, and another is data scientist. So it's going to Azure data engineer and data scientist. Okay, Azure data engineer. What is the role of Azure data engineer? So Azure data engineer is going to create a data warehouse for its organization. Data warehouse for its organization. Data warehouse. It is a storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, resources such as user logs, new user logs, clicks, existing customers' data. So its data engineer is going to structure the data, monitors the data and stores in it a data warehouse. Secondly, the Azure data engineer is going to communicate, right? Azure data engineer communicates with the data scientist, is going to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. He also communicates with the business team to understand the business requirements of the organization. He also keep in mind, right, the business needs while dealing with the data in hand. So the data scientist, they are going to create some insights from the processed data of data engineer, and later the business team, they require some dashboard tools for visualizing that key insights. So data engineer keep constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. Data engineer constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. He creates a data pipeline. He creates a data pipeline through which data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. Okay. He also makes sure that the pipeline is always secure and efficient without any data leaks. So this is the primary role of Azure data engineer. If you see the various other role of Azure data engineer, just check it. Role of Azure data engineer. Designing entire data flow architecture. Creating data warehouse. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. Right. Okay. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. So whenever you create this data warehouse, it becomes very fast and easy to query the data right for analysis. And also the major role ETL, ETL, extract, transform, and load. What is that? Extract, transform, load. This ETL is one of the key tasks of Azure data engineer. They need to extract the data. They need to extract the data from multiple sources. They need to transform it into structured and queryable data. And they need to load this data into company's storage service for the further business evaluation by this data scientist. Load it is. Okay. And other data monitoring, right? Data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way, the way the ETL is performed in a proper way, and data is available anywhere and everywhere it is required. And also like data security, right? Yes. Data security. So ensuring that the data security is also a major responsibility. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers. The data need to be secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or exposure. Next, collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. See, they have to constantly, these data engineers constantly, they need to communicate with the business team to check that data needs, a data requirement, and also collaborating with the data scientists to deliver the data as per the requirement. Delivering the data as per the requirement, right? Yes. And analytics. And data engineers, they analyze the data and transform it into structured and useful format. Data engineers analyze the data and transform it into structured and useful format. They need to have strong analytical skills to perform this kind of analysis. Designing entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse, ETL, data monitoring, data security, collaboration and communication, analytics, and also automation. Means automation means certain things require minimal human intervention, such as data extraction process. So these are the role of Azure data engineer. So main thing is ETL, creating data warehouse, data monitoring, and data security. Yes. Azure Data Engineer, Azure Data Engineering products. Azure Data Engineering products or services. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory. Yes. Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, and Azure Streaming and Azure Key Vault. Just I'll give overview about these things, right? Overview about this Azure Data Engineering products or services. Yes. First one, Azure SQL. In a simple way, in Azure SQL, right? It is a cloud RDBMS. Cloud RDBMS database. It's a cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft. Cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations, online transactional processing, day-to-day activities, but in a simple way, it's cloud RDBMS. It captures end-user transactions. It is not for data warehouse, it is for OLTP operations. Secondly, Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake. Some distributed file system, right? It's a distributed file system with unlimited data storage, in cloud. There is data lake. So it is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and simply, if we can say, if you want to store data in the form of files, Azure Data Lake. If you want to store data in the form of tables, Azure SQL. Then Azure Data, okay, if you talk like that, Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics, right? Yes. For data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for data warehouse operations, for big data operations. Yes, for analytics, for batch processing, for batch applications, for batch applications. See, online applications are there, batch applications. Online applications means user interactive applications. Batch applications are not user interactive. User non-interactive. Millions and trillions of records, right? Which are involved. If you're making a online transaction, money transaction, right? A single transaction is an online transaction. Batch applications involves millions and trillions of transactions, and also for parallel processing. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, and Azure Data Factory. In a simple way, what is Azure Data Factory? Azure Data Factory idea. In a simple way, just like other ETL tools, it is a cloud ETL. It is a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL. It's a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure. Simple way, it is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft performing extracting, transforming, and loading. It extracts data, transforms, and loads. Yes. So it permits to combine data from multiple sources. ADF allows to combine data from multiple sources, reformat it into analytical models, reformatting it into analytical models, and save these models for querying, for visualizing, and reporting, right? Yes. Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks. In a simple way, Azure Databricks, it is a fast data analytics platform. It is a very fast Apache Spark based. And say it is a very fast Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Azure Databricks. Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. Okay, analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. What do you mean by streaming data? Data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing. Such kind of data we call it as streaming data. For example, if you have downloaded a file, for example, an MP4 file, means a movie file. So if you see in the morning, it is like 2 GB. If you see in the afternoon, it will be 2 GB. Evening, it will be 2 GB. After 2 days, it will be like 2 GB. It is static. But streaming data, for example, streaming data, if you take a CCTV or webcam, a file, morning it is 2 GB, afternoon it will become 3, evening it will become 4 GB, after 2 days it becomes 8 GB, after 10 days it will become some 20 GB. Means it keeps on incrementing. Many events will be generating. Yes. So analyzing and processing high volumes of the streaming data, that too from multiple sources, right? Simultaneously. And Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB in a simple way. Just like MongoDB, it is also a kind of NoSQL database. Azure cloud-based, Azure cloud-based NoSQL database. Same like the MongoDB, it is cloud-based NoSQL database. NoSQL means schema-less behavior. Record to record, different number of fields can be maintained. Record to record, different number of fields can be maintained. In case of normal SQL databases, first record to last record, same number of fields to be maintained. But in the case of NoSQL, record to record, any number of fields we can maintain. Azure Key Vault. The secure key management. It's a secure key management for protecting data in the cloud. Secure key management for protecting data in the cloud. Okay, so these are the main Azure data engineering products or services. Azure SQL. Azure SQL in a simple way, right? It's a cloud or DBMS. Azure Data Lake, it's a kind of file system. Azure Synapse Analytics for data warehouse operations, big data operations. Azure Data Factory, it's a ETL, cloud ETL. Databricks, Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Cosmos DB, NoSQL database. Azure Streaming, it's analyzing streaming data, processing streaming data. And Azure Key Vault for protecting data in the cloud. So as part of this course, right, just observe Azure Data Engineer. All right. First, ADF, Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. ADF will be discussed. ADF is a zero coding ETL. There is no prerequisites for it. Azure Data Factory is a zero coding, codeless, everything drag and drop, no coding, no prerequisites. Next, I'll be discussing about Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks. ADB with PySpark. So here, as part of this course, entire PySpark will be discussed, not like other training sets, not as an overview about this PySpark. PySpark has got a great demand in today's industry. So very high speed processing execution model, right? Processing huge data in quick time, right? PySpark. And apart from that, Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. And apart from this, you'll be getting knowledge on this other components like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, that is file system. Azure Data Lake Storage, what we call ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage, and Azure Streaming. Yes. So you'll be getting Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake Storage, Azure Streaming, right? Yes, these are everything I'll be discussing in brief. So 3 months is the duration, right? 3 months duration. Okay. And 100 hours. So 3 months duration, 100 hours, right? And the fees, it's a offer batch. It's just 12,000 is the, actually each one is a separate course. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Synapse. Each one, it's cost 6,000, 6,000, 24,000, right? But 50% discount, it's given for 12,000. You'll be getting all this in brief, in depth. You'll be discussing for 100 hours, 3 months duration. Yes, just you can check with the course content. Yes. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Key Vault, Azure Synapse, Azure Cosmos, Azure Streaming, Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? Top level concepts, pipelines, activities. Yes, data sets, triggers, data flows. Pipeline. What is a pipeline? Creating a new pipeline, organizing a pipeline, debugging pipeline, publishing pipeline, linker service, creating linker service for each and every components, right? Azure Data Lake, Azure Database, data sets. What is a data set? A data set for Avro file, binary file, CSV file, Excel file, CSV file, JSON file, XML files, and activities, different types of activities, copy data activity, filter activity, get metadata for each activity. So each and every activities, triggers, schedule trigger, tumbling window trigger, storage event trigger, uh, manage monitoring ADF jobs, data flows. What is data flow? Mapping data flow debug, transformations, filter, aggregate, join, conditional split, exist, union, lookup, group by, flatten, and validating schema, removing duplicates, Azure Data Factory, ADF. And nearly 50 exercises I'll be discussing as part of this course. You can check this. 50 exercises I'll be discussing. And coming to this Databricks, before I go with the Databricks, the prerequisites like some introduction to this big data, introduction to this Hadoop, and introduction to Spark, and this cloud computing, and this Azure. Before going with the actual Azure Databricks, Databricks architecture, Databricks concepts, creating clusters, displaying clusters, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting cluster, cluster logs, and Databricks pools, Databricks cluster modes, auto scaling, multiple cluster Databricks utilities, integration with Blob, Azure Synapse Databricks handling multiple file formats, Databricks batch processing using PySpark, and streaming API, Lakehouse, Delta Lake, workflows in Databricks, and jobs, Azure Synapse, overview of pools using Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Storage Account Integration, Azure Synapse Triggers, incremental load, or as these things. So even this Azure Synapse in brief. So I said all these things will be discussed in brief. Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, Synapse along with this, and offerings from my side. You'll be getting each and every session video, each and every session video, right? Yes. You will be getting this soft copy of the class notes, clear soft copy of class notes. Assignments and tasks to work. A WhatsApp group. A WhatsApp group will be created for technical discussions, or if you get any error, you can take the snap of it and post in this group. And live interactive. So at any point of time, you can ask queries. Every session will be interactive. Hands-on means you can do parallel along with me. All the tasks, whatever I'm doing, you can do parallel along with me. Live interactive hands-on sessions. Resumes and interview questions. Okay. So if you got, so tomorrow also you can attend the session, same timing at 7 o'clock to see more discussion on this. If you got any queries, anything, you can just unmute and you can ask your queries, or you can type your queries in the chat. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So I
Yeah.
have one question. You
Yes.
talk about all this Azure Data Factory database. There is no coding involved here?
See one thing, 1 second. See here, Azure Data Factory, it's a zero coding. Azure Data Factory, zero coding. Zero coding ETL, no coding involved in this ADF, everything drag and drop. For Azure Databricks and Azure Databricks PySpark, so we'll be writing some code. So basic Python for these things, for this the basic Python and basic SQL is required. That too, if I'll be just briefing you about the syntaxes of Python before we start with this actual practical part of this. I said you want what are the prerequisites also I'll be discussing, right? So the basics of Hadoop and Spark I'll be discussing before this, and basic Python, basic SQL, right? You'll be writing some code, means not like huge codings, right? PySpark is giving many functions. Many functions are provided, like data frame API functions are there. We need to wait, making use of all those functions, right? But here you won't see any, you won't write any code at all. But here code is involved, but not that huge codings. Previously, like Spark can be implemented using Python, Scala, and Java. As compared to Scala and Java language, Python code is very less. You see very, very less codings, right? Yes. Yeah. Any other query? Yes.
So
Yeah,
I'm not
Simon.
into technical. So till now I trained in Power BI and SQL. There is no coding involved, and it
So
was very difficult to understand me. So is that user friendly so that you can easily understand this coding in Azure Databricks and the next
yes,
one?
it looks simple. The only thing is you should be regular to the sessions and do the practicals along with me parallelly. Any queries, anything you can ask me, right? Immediately if you're not understood. All the sessions are interactive, as said. It looks simple if you are regular and if you are practicing the things regularly.
Mhm.
And what are the timings of the classes that we are actually session?
Yes. Let me make it clear about the timings. I forgot for that. Yes. So the timings of this batch, initially, like first 1 week, it will be at 7 p.m. Later it will be at 6 p.m. Later it will be at 6 p.m. First 1 week, it will be 1 week to around 1 week, it will be at 7 p.m. Later it will be at 6 p.m. And see,
And
as we are dealing with
duration of the session of each session, one session,
1 hour, right? 1 hour,
1 hour.
1 hour. But one more thing, see,
Mhm.
actually, what I suggest you people is, because we'll be dealing with like 100 to 120 hours I'll be spending for this course with many working examples in brief, because we are discussing about all this Azure data engineering package, which will add more weightage to your resume, especially PySpark. Means as compared to other training stack, I'll be discussing this entire PySpark course and saying. So for that, I recommend you people, if you go parallelly, like Azure Data Factory and these things parallelly, means so that it will decrease your time bound. So you can just complete within 2.5 to 3 months. So coming Monday, so if you want, you can go parallelly. Otherwise, one after the other you can go. Once you get enrolled with this AD, you can attend any of my Databricks PySpark batches whenever they are getting started. So in this coming Monday, like at 4 p.m., this Azure Databricks PySpark, ADB PySpark. There is a batch starting on this Monday 4 p.m. Initially 1 week it will be at 1 week to 10 days it will be at 4 p.m. 1 week to 10 days it will be at 4 p.m. Later it will be at 5 p.m. So means after 1 week or 10 days at 5 p.m. you will be having Databricks. At 6 p.m. you will be having ADF.
So if I want to go with Azure Data Factory means I have to join 6 p.m.
Initially for the first 1 week it will be at 7 p.m. Later it will be at 6 p.m. Yes. Up to
So
the end of
what is my question is I want to go one by one. So not all
if
together.
if you want to go one after the other, you can just attend ADF first. Later,
Okay.
after completing, you can just attend the ADB class.
Okay, so that works. That sounds good. Yeah.
Those who wants to go parallelly, right, you can understand. But only thing is regular practice is required. So Monday at 4 p.m. you can attend the demo and you can go with the sessions. Tomorrow you can attend the session, right? Same timing at 7 o'clock. We'll see more discussion on this, more information on. Today I will just give an overview about these things, right? So I'll be briefing more about this product services. Yes. Any other queries, Matt? Yes, anyone? So
Will you
only
also be assisting us
only one thing
on
is I
the
said, go ahead.
will you also be assisting us in like building resume and CV?
Yeah, resumes and interview questions I said, right? Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I said the thing people who are from means they say non-programming or whatever it is. So only thing is regular to the sessions and doing that practicals that they need to complete the practicals that day itself so that to understand the next session simple.
And in one batch, like how many students you are actually taking?
Around 10 students will be there.
These classes from Monday to Friday or it's Monday to Thursday?
Monday to Friday it will be. Sometimes on Saturdays I'll be taking. Not all the Saturdays. Some.
Okay. So as soon as the session does, then you will send the recordings on the group.
Yes, by the time it's by now 7 o'clock to okay, class has completed now, right? By tonight after 2 hours from now you will get the video.
Okay.
And
So I'll go with the ADF first. So just let me know the timings.
Same timings, right? First 1 week to 10, it will be at 7 p.m. Later it will start at 6 p.m.
Okay.
and uh, like will there be any fluctuations in the timing because I'm already working, so I might like I'm available after 6 p.m. only. So is there
See,
like
one thing I'm saying clearly about the timings here before you go with the payment process. So I'm making it clear about the timings. There won't be any change in the timings. So
okay.
clearly again, if I say 7 p.m. again, that's why I'm saying first itself, first 1 week to 10 days will be at 7 p.m. Later it will be at 6 p.m. Before itself, I'm saying before you go with the payment. So I can say this after the payment, but I'm saying all this before you go with the payment so that most of the people are working. It should be flexible for them to attend the sessions. So all the timings will be very much clear, right? Yeah. And if anybody wants to go parallelly, right, at 4 p.m. first 1 week, we'll be having ADV sessions, right? And after 1 week, we'll be having at 5 p.m. if you want to go parallel. Otherwise, after completing ADF, there will be a Databricks batch on the same timing. You can just check it. Yeah. Any other queries, right?
So price remains same. So if you want to go with the data factory and with uh, Databricks, okay, these two. So the amount remains same.
See, one thing, 6,000, see, only for PYSPARK, there is a weekend batch.
Okay.
Only for this, it is charged 7,000. Only for PYSPARK. Each one is each one separately. If you are going, each one will be 6,666.
Okay.
If you are going separately, 6,666. If you are taking ADF separately, if you go for ADB again, if you go separately for PySpark, it will be 7. This one will be 6. Yeah.
So that
If you're
12,000
taking
cost is for everything, right? From 1 to
everything,
7,
all
1
this,
to 8.
yes, all this, right? It's an offer batch. Yes. Fine. So nearly 100 hours will be spending. So in brief about all this, especially this Azure Databricks PySpark has got great demand. So even as you can step into the company as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a PySpark developer, as a Synapse, right? As a data engineer, you can go. But today, if we see as a salary packages is concerned, right? So if you're adding this Databricks and PySpark, right? So it has got, especially PySpark has got a great demand in today's industry, right? Yes. Lot of demand for this Databricks and PySpark. So even every year, like lakhs of companies getting registered to Azure. More than 95% of this Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure cloud services. In turn, they are increasing the number of job opportunities. Okay.
Okay.
So lakhs of companies are getting registered with Azure, and in turn, they are increasing job opportunities for Azure data engineers constantly, right? So even organizations that are shifting to Azure, utilizing it, and regularly they are in need of professionals, right, to work with Azure and handling this huge data, big data, right? Even if you talk about the pay scales also, right? Data engineers has got the highest average salary as closely as data scientists. Even if you talk the two highest paying jobs, right? Data scientists and data engineers, right? So if you see, even if you see that salary packages before you go for the interviews, right? This especially for data engineers, 1.5 times the other technologies, right? In the same way, they need to have command on that. That's why it's not like a 45 hours course. I said it's around 3 months course, right? So yes. So even many companies, right, like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all this, they're interested in hiring data engineers with the great salary packages. Even like Apple, Google, Cognizant, Walmart, all this, they're offering high-paying jobs for this data engineer, especially this Azure data engineers. Right? Okay.
So we are new with this technical like coding part. We are not we not even see the home pages applications till now.
Mm.
Okay, just can you
Yes.
cover at least basic of applications on factory and Databricks
Yes,
tomorrow?
yes.
So we have some idea before going live.
See,
Uh,
everything from the ground level, from that basics onwards, right? I'll be discussing all these things. So even the subscription, even you can get the free subscription step by step, how you can get the free subscription, right? And how you can practice these things, right? Everything I'll be discussing. And even 50% of the tasks I'll be showing you in any one of your systems, right? Yes.
so
That
certification, how to do this process?
yes, I'll take a couple of sessions on that, right? How you can go for it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, fine. So in brief about all this Azure data engineering package, so everything people who are from non-programming also can just only thing is you need to do the practicals daily, spending 1-2 hours for it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, tomorrow also you can attend the session, same timing, using the same link to see more discussion on it. Yes. Okay.
Sure. Yes.
Okay,
So
sure.
thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.